All right, we back on this beautiful Sunday, late afternoon. Not our usual recording time, but shit be happening. It's all good. Fucking amazing weekend of fights. UFC 285, return of the GOAT, Jon Jones. I mean, the card delivered from start to finish, and we're gonna get into it, but. Just feeling good, man. Having a good weekend. Got my boy here, K Coast, K Dog. I was trying to think of the other one. I think it's just K Dog. My guy, my BFF, producer extraordinaire. Without him, none of this would be possible. But yeah, I mean, where do we begin? I mean, like I said, starting a little late on this afternoon. Got a little hike in this morning. I'm gonna throw a picture I took up when I was up there for you to enjoy. Sometimes you just got to do that. I mean, it's kind of tradition at this point. Like Sunday hikes on a beautiful day, clear the head. Let the creative juices flow. All that stuff. You know what I mean? It's good for you. Get outside if you can, people. Don't just sit on TikTok and scroll your shit and start drama and text people and all that shit. Fucking go outside, put your phone down, enjoy what life has for you. Look at me on my yogi shit. Can you tell I've been actively teaching some yoga classes lately. Fucking getting my groove going in that field. Feeling good about it. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, who gives a shit about what I'm doing? Let's talk about some MMA, huh? Like I just said, UFC 285, return of the GOAT, Jon Jones, Ciryl Gane headlining, co-main event, Valentina Shevchenko taking on Alexa Grasso. This card was stacked. Fucking hell. I mean, where do we begin? I mean, let's just start with Jon Jones, huh? I mean, it's been a crazy lead up. Jon Jones coming into this fight, first time at heavyweight. Dude took so he's been off for 3 years, Jon Jones, and made the conscious decision that he was going to come up to heavyweight the next time he fights, and he took all that time to put on weight the right way, slow and surely, feel comfortable with that extra weight on him. And some people were a little worried about him coming into this, saying he was looking pudgy, looking a little, just looking soft in the belly area, but it's Jon Jones. I mean, the dude is considered the GOAT for a reason. And, I mean, those reasons alone are his just extremely high fight IQ. I mean, his, ridiculously long reach. He has the perfect, frame for a fighter. I mean, and he comes into this heavyweight fight against a very highly talented kickboxer in Ciryl Gane. Ciryl Gane has looked like a world beater on his way up to the belt, up until he faced Francis Ngannou, which was for the belt, and surprisingly enough, outstruck Francis Ngannou to the point that forced Francis Ngannou to wrestle Ciryl Gane in order to get that W, which he did. And I mean, right there just kind of showed how good Ciryl Gane was, because, I mean, no one has ever turned Francis into a wrestler like that ever. So it was interesting coming into it. But, I mean, people still felt like coming into this that Jon Jones was just going to, run through Ciryl Gane because of just, his talent, his experience. The dude has been in the UFC for a long time at this point, has fought the who's who, the best of the best, the DCs of the world, the Thiago Santoses, the Dominic Reyes's, the legends, the Lyoto Machidas, the Shogun Ruas. I mean, I could just, the more names you rattle off, the more impressive it gets. And he beat them all in fantastic fashion. Arguably just never really faced any real danger in fighting. Maybe arguably the Gustafsson one and the Dominic Reyes, but either way, he always finds a way in those later rounds to pull it out. And, that's a champ mentality right there. And so this fight was very interesting going into it. Jon Jones in the press conference sounded as confident as I've ever seen him. just pretty much broke down in front of Cyril's face how he was going to beat him, how he's just watched endless film on this guy, and how he was going to have no problem in going into this fight. And honestly, hearing him talk like that, it kind of unsettles you a little bit, because you're like, oh man, you know, because if you talk that shit and you get beat, I mean, it just looks really bad. But I mean, the way he was doing it though, like, you just felt the confidence coming through the screen. And the fight and the fight night was no different. His walkout, he just looked amped, he looked pumped. Little weird moment going into the ring. He had his toes taped because he has some like toe injury that he's like, I guess, dealt with his whole career, and he's always taped his toes. And for some reason this night they stopped him and told him he couldn't have it, and they cut it off of him. Which in the post fight after the night was over, in the post fight press conference, he did state that he wasn't going to fight unless he was able to have his toes taped. Which, I mean, that they're going to let it happen if he says that, and I don't see why. I mean, he's had his toes taped before, so I don't see what the big deal is there. But yeah, he came into this one amped. He came into this one pumped up. I mean, got the first round finish. Ciryl Gane, basically, I mean, there's really nothing to really break down about this fight other than Jon Jones. I will say Jon Jones did look a little like slower, a little bit like the footwork wasn't really there like it usually is. Usually he moves so well. The footwork was a little off. It was definitely like there's a big difference in the heavyweight Jon Jones to the light heavyweight Jon Jones, but the skill and talent is still there. Ciryl Gane threw one punch. Jon Jones slipped it so perfectly, was able to get like a takedown off of it, and just worked his way like basically into a mounted position, pressed him up against the cage, and just got this front choke, slipped his little skinny forearms underneath his neck, and Ciryl tapped pretty quickly too. So, I mean, and they already said going into this that like the winner was going to fight Stipe, which is, you know, he was always considered the heavyweight GOAT. You know, Jon Jones considered like the pound for pound GOAT, like the best fighter compared to anybody in anyone's weight division. Just if you're going to pick who's the best fighter, a lot of people will say Jon Jones. And Stipe Miocic, I mean, due to his resume, has like earned himself the title of GOAT of the heavyweight. And fair enough. I mean, he's beat Francis Ngannou the first time when Francis had all the hype. I mean, he's also beat the who's who in heavyweight. And now it looks like after this, Jon Jones is going to probably fight Stipe. They're saying International Fight Week in July. And let me tell you something. I mean, the win was just so impressive. The energy was impressive. Jon Jones he looks revitalized. He looks like a better version of himself. He's since apparently said he's stayed sober, which obviously Jon Jones has a pretty fucked up past. You know, drunk driving accident, hitting a pregnant woman, fleeing the scene, you know, cocaine use, domestic abuse, which was like only like one time. I mean, dude was arrested also like drunk driving, shooting a gun out of a window, driving through the desert. And it's, you know, it's kind of who he is. It's, you know, that's people, that's life. I mean, and Jon Jones, he even said it in the press conference that a lot of people like didn't like him before because they felt like he was a piece of shit and he was fake and he was phony. But in his post-fight press conference last night, he sounded like a way more mature him, and he, instead of like making excuses like he has in the past and maybe like sounding fake, he kind of just said, I think people are starting to ride with him now because he is fessing up to his past and he is trying to better himself, and he's admitting that, you know, that his behavior was not right in the past and that he's a human and he's trying to better himself and learn as he goes. And I mean, the older you get, the more experience you get, you have to face life to learn from it. And that's what he's doing. That's what it seems like. And that's what I'm trying to say right now is that he just feels surrounded with good energy. And he, like I said, revitalized. And what I'm really getting at is that I can't see a world where Stipe beats him because, I mean, it's Jon Jones and he looks just as good at heavyweight, if not scarier, because, I mean, the dude is just a freak. He's ginormous. And, you know, yeah, the GOAT is back. The GOAT is back. I mean, it was kind of what everyone was expecting. Ciryl Gane, like I said before, fantastic kickboxer, highly talented, but it's MMA. You got to bring a ground game, whether it's jiu-jitsu, whether it's wrestling. You got to have something, because if you don't, you could get far. You could get knockouts and make your way to a title fight, but ultimately, in the top 5, there's going to be one good, really good wrestler in there that's going to expose you, and that goes for every division. So Ciryl Gane, he's not going anywhere. He'll be back. I'm sure he's going to work his game, get better in his ground game, and I'm sure we'll see him again. I mean, the dude just beats everyone else pretty easily. So, granted, he hasn't really fought a lot of grapplers, so we'll see. Maybe a Curtis Blades in his future. I could see that. No one really talked about that last night. That makes sense. Maybe you give him Curtis Blades next, let him train for that, and see if he's worthy to, be up there still and be a title contender. Yeah. So, I mean, I wish there was more to talk about with it, but it was just a short night. Got it done in, fantastic fashion. Like I said, slips one punch and gets a choke. I mean, impressive stuff. I mean, he's the GOAT for a reason. All praises to Jon Jones. Love the new energy. Love the new him. And I look forward to seeing him in the future. And I hope he stays in the sport for a long time and dominates a heavyweight and just, does it all. And so, I mean, this card, like I said, it was riddled with some exciting moments, some exciting matchups, and like some exciting backstories. And the co-main event was one of those. Obviously, Valentina Shevchenko, long reigning, like, female champion of the flyweight division. And if you are a fan of the UFC, everybody knows Valentina Shevchenko. I mean, also in her rightful own, like, considered the GOAT of her division. I mean, rightfully so, has like endless amount of title defenses against, I mean, all great opponents, and has made great women look like they didn't deserve to be in there with her. And she's also had a couple tough matches. Taila Santos, her last fight to be, specific, which I actually personally thought that Taila Santos might have done enough to earn the win, honestly. But, it was close. So, and, Valentina, it's not like she was like destroyed in that fight. She just kind of got out wrestled, maybe just taken down a few more times than, just enough times to, like, I don't know. She got taken down, but nothing really came of it. But whatever. Point is, that's neither here nor there. She got the W, and she remained the champion and added to her long, illustrious career accolades. And in this fight, she took on Alexa Grasso, who has been, dogging out these fights one after one, climbing her way the slow and steady way to a title fight. And she just gets better and better with each fight. And also, if you're a fan of the sport, you do know Alexa Grasso, because I feel like Alexa Grasso is like a fan favorite of sorts. She's a sweet girl, has such a soft-spoken voice, very stoic, like never lets out too much energy, little cutie. And who doesn't love a Mexican fighter too? Like, Mexicans are just like warriors. I mean, they're just born warriors, and that's exactly what she is. She's a fucking warrior, and she came with a warrior's mentality in this fight. It was a great fight, though. At first, it looked like Valentina was like, too fast and just kind of dialing it in, doing what she usually does, like, making her reads and, just kind of like downloading like Alexa Grasso's movements and deciding how she was going to, whether take her down or go for some big strikes. But I'll tell you what, Grasso pressed forward at all the right times, landed some beautiful combinations that humbled Valentina very early in the fight. I believe it was even in the first round she might have landed her first big shot that definitely stunned Valentina. Like, it was just like it would have knocked down a lesser woman. Like, it would have knocked down most of like the women in that division. But Valentina, like, credit to her, she took it pretty well. But either way, her face, you knew that she felt that shit, and that's all I needed to see was that one punch in the first round to go, oh shit, Grasso has a chance in this fight. She has crispy hands, heavy hands, fast technical hands, and if she could land clean, the thing is, to quote Mike Tyson, and it's like it's so overly quoted at this point, but it holds up always, is that everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. And sometimes you just it takes like taking that good punch to humble your ass and make you realize that you are human, and maybe even doubt yourself, like second guess yourself, like, oh shit, I mean, I've been destroying these women and I've never felt nothing like that. And then maybe that starts to creep into your psyche a little bit, that, oh fuck, like this could go bad depending, like if I get hit with a few of those. And guess what? She did. She landed a few of those throughout this fight. And it showed. I think it humbled Valentina. I think it forced her. It put her on her back foot most of the fight. It forced a lot of takedown shots out of her. She did land a few of these takedowns, and these are mainly the reasons why she kind of was winning the fight up into this point. And, you know, pretty much throughout I would say, I think Alexa Grasso might have won like one of the rounds out of the three, or Alexa got one of the rounds out of the three, like out of 3 rounds up into the 4th round. And then the 4th round, Valentina was doing pretty well. And then there was a moment where Valentina threw a kick and Grasso caught it and knocked her off balance. Valentina turns around. Grasso fucking just like speed of light, just saw her back and took it. Just jumped like a fucking spider monkey onto her back and threw hooks in immediately. And just immediately went for the choke. And it didn't look like it was there. I mean, it wasn't. It was on the chin. And then Grasso just kept on cinching her hand more and more in, tightening that grip to the point where she got the hand behind the neck, and it was enough to add so much pressure, whether it was on the jaw or not. It was just like the back of the neck. You know, you could also cut off airways from the back too. And that's what she did. She was able to get the hand back there, and it made enough pressure that, oh my God, Valentina's head was like beet red. And also, we're going to post a picture of this. Like when Alexa Grasso let go of the choke after Valentina tapped, at the end of the 4th round, literally less than 30 seconds left in the 4th round, Grasso got this submission. Fucking makes her tap, let's go, and it, like, everyone keeps making the joke that it literally looks like a crazy suntan. Like, you just see Alexa's, like, the pressure from her forearm wrapped around her chin area, and the rest of her head is just so like purple and red from like being choked out. It was a sight to see. It was, and honestly, couldn't be happier for Alexa Grasso. Fucking shout out Mexico. Mexico got 3 champions right now. Well, depending what, 2.5 or 2, depending on what you say. Yair Rodriguez, the interim champion of the featherweight. Obviously, Volkanovski went up to fight at lightweight. So that's the reason why they had the interim. Yair Rodriguez now an interim champion. You also got Brandon Moreno. That's the 3 Mexican champions. It's always good to have some Mexican champions. Like Mexico, the people show out. The people are fun as hell. They party hard. They ride for their fighters like no other. I think arguably Mexicans, like they are down for their people, their fighters, their athletes, like almost no other country. It's like it's crazy. I remember when like Floyd Mayweather was fighting, you know, when he fought Canelo, bro. Mexicans. At this point, I was working at a restaurant. I mean, I hate to say it, but this is a young Canelo too. This is like 19-year-old Canelo. I took advantage of all the Mexicans and put money on Floyd Mayweather, kind of knowing that Canelo was too young, but they were just so blindly in love with this guy and we're so sure that like, and the point I'm making is that when they get a person to get behind, they get behind their people, and I give respect to that because it's amazing, and it makes for good energy, and I can't wait till the UFC goes back to Mexico. Hopefully, Alexa Grasso's the champ and gets to be on that card, along with Brandon Moreno, maybe even Yair Rodriguez. Could you imagine that 3 title fights? That would be insane. Yeah, so shout out Alexa Grasso and new fucking beautiful, beautiful finish. It'll be talked about for a long time. I mean, to do that to Valentina Shevchenko, obviously they're probably going to do a rematch. Valentina's been the champ for a long time. She's if there's anyone that deserves a rematch, it's her. And the UFC will give it to her. That's going to be the next fight. But I got to say, I like Alexa Grasso's chances going into this. She doesn't seem like a girl that's going to be like get lazy or fall to the new fame and fortune. She seems like someone that it's going to motivate her. It's going to make her better. It's going to make her it's going to give her a whole new champ mentality. I mean, she just beat Valentina Shevchenko. Uh-oh. The boys. What you crying about? What you crying about? Come here. Come here. Come here. Want to say hi? Come here. Don't pull my fucking headphones. Want to say hi? You want to say hi too? Come here. Come here. This is bad. One of my headphones is going down. Say hi. Say hi. All right. Let's see if I can do this without disconnecting. Get down. Can you blur out Yam's dick for me? All right, moving on. The Coco, man, the fight of the night. I just watched this fight today. Yo, chill out. Settle down. Behave. Daddy's doing a podcast. The fight of the night, rightfully so. Like I said, I watched this fight today after my hike when I got home. I mean, when there's fights like this, you just have to watch it over and over and over to see the brilliance and like the sheer skill and talent that was involved in fights like this. To compare it to another one, I haven't even said what the fight is yet, but to compare it to another one, it's like Israel and Alex Pereira. I've watched that fight like 30 million times, and I'm going to continue to keep watching that fight because it's just so fun to watch. And they got a rematch coming up. So, but this fight, Jeff Neal took on SHAVKAT RAKHMONOV. SHAVKAT RAKHMONOV is one of those dudes, like similar to Khamzat Chimaev, who has just, as of recently, exploded onto the scene as one of these freakishly high talented fighters that just seems so unbeatable. And obviously, you know, if you're a fan of the sport and you're you know, you're not a casual, you're definitely familiar with Jeff Neal, who is no pushover. Jeff Neal is as tough as they come, and he showed it in this fight for sure. So a lot of people thought RAKHMONOV, including maybe even myself, was going to get it done pretty easily in this fight. But, and don't get me wrong, he showed he showed a brilliant display of mixed martial arts in this. He might be one of the most well-rounded fighters on the roster. Like, so get this stat, right? Hold on. SHAVKAT RAKHMONOV coming into this fight 16-0 in MMA. 8 knockouts, 8 submissions. Has finished all his fights equally distributing the finish, the style of finish in which he gets it done. And this one was easily his hardest test. Jeff Neal, tough as they come. Just really, and so going into this fight, I was saying, like, as it was about to begin, watching with my boy Manny. Shout out Manny. Still waiting for Manny to get on the podcast. It's gonna happen soon though. I said right before the fight, I said, what if this ends up being like the Khamzat Gilbert Burns fight, where like we actually get to see SHAVKAT tested and it's like ends up being a war. And granted, it wasn't like, maybe it was close, but maybe it wasn't like to that extent of tests. Maybe a little bit. It kind of was. It was, but it ended up being his Gilbert Burns Khamzat fight. Actually, it was great. It was. I mean, it's the fight starts. It was looking like SHAVKAT was just like doing what he was supposed to. Just, I mean, this guy, man. It's like you don't even know where to begin with this guy. It's just like, it's almost like too high level. It's and I'm just so happy to see it. And this is the shit in the sport that keeps me coming back and always will. Is just the evolution of these people building their game so much to where, like, every aspect of their game is just elite. And usually it's like one guy's an amazing striker with a good ground game and decent jiu-jitsu, or maybe one guy's a black belt jiu-jitsu master a fucking savage in jiu-jitsu with good striking and like wrestling. No, Shavkat has it all. And he showed it. I mean, his body work in this fight, the slick knees, the fucking elbows, the feints. This guy, I'm sounding like a Shavkat dick rider, and it's because I am these days. I mean, I love this guy's style of fight. And I don't want to take away from Geoff Neal, because Geoff Neal was tough enough to take a lot of like Shavkat's punishment, which would easily take out other people the way he was landing them. But Geoff Neal's just so damn tough. And Geoff Neal, not only was he able to take it, but he would take it and then dish it back, and he was landing on RAKHMONOV. He even rocked RAKHMONOV to the point where he had him dazed. He had him like he almost got a knockdown in the third round. And so this fight went to the third round, and like I said, Geoff Neal held his own. He did his thing. He tested Shavkat, but ultimately Shavkat, I think he landed like a beautiful kick, he landed a million beautiful kicks, but in the end he landed a beautiful body shot that you could just tell affected Neal, and then he fucking hit him with something up top, just had Neal totally out of it, and was able to get a standing rear naked choke, which is like, and did it in such a unique way where he was like almost next to him, and then to get the leverage, he throws his right leg around Neal's leg so he could thrust his hips almost into like his side to get like more leverage on it. And you know, for all my people out there that are like that like appreciate that shit and like they're just like and like understand that level of IQ to do stuff like that, because you're not gonna get the finish just standing next to him getting the choke. He had it. It wasn't worth it. I mean, it was almost there. Geoff Neal was pretty much out of it, like, but he was still holding on because the motherfucker's tough as shit. And then just does this crazy technique in which like he knows the way that he's gonna put just the slightest bit more leverage that's gonna force him to tap, and it did. And it was so impressive. Came again within the last minute of the fight. Geoff Neal has never been finished before this, and RAKHMONOV obviously 100% finish rate, and it was looking like, oh man, he's not about to get the finish, but he does in fantastic fashion. And I feel like I feel like I just like off like giving this guy so much praise, but it's well deserved. And I just hope to God that we get a Shavkat Rakhmonov and a Khamzat fight in the future, but I'm not even pressing for it. It's not that big a deal. There's still a lot of guys up there that he can fight that are just equally as exciting. He called out Colby Covington after, which, I mean, Dana White seemed to have liked that suggestion, and I think everybody likes that. I mean, that would be amazing. Kind of similar, like great grapplers, high cardio, high pace from both guys. Shavkat's pace is insane, but so is Colby. So I like that matchup, and I kind of hope that does happen. And just to touch on it, in the first round of this fight too, Shavkat got his mouthpiece knocked out of his mouth, and he didn't even fucking flinch about it. Like a lot of times people get their mouthpiece and they kind of stop and they point at the ref like, ref, my mouthpiece. They're all worried about it and shit. Shavkat, mouthpiece popped out, and it was like nothing ever happened. He was like, I'm still gonna fight you, and I'm not letting up, like moving forward, pressing the pace, was taking shots without it. The dude's just a savage, bro. Those like Eastern Russian, those like Asian Russian hybrid countries, a lot of scary folks out of there, bro. He's fucking, they're just like a high, like the and it just makes that we're making a joke almost, like it just makes sense too. It's like you get the technique and like intelligence and like patience and the way of like the Asian countries mixed with like these tough, gritty, hard-nosed like Russians. The combination makes for a dangerous human being. That's all I'm saying. Moving on, because I'm spending a lot of time on these fights, but rightfully so. I just feel like these fights were amazing. Now this one, Mateusz Gamrot took on Jalen Turner. Gamrot coming off a loss. Can you click him? This is like it's been fucking with me last night too when I was thinking about it. Go to fight history on the right. Oh yeah, he lost to Dariush. That's why me and Manny were talking about last night. And then go down real quick, and then he beat Sarukian in a decision. So if anyone's familiar with Armin Sarukian, that dude's super high level. I mean, the credit from that win, it just says a lot. But then he took on Dariush, which is like a huge step up for him. Dariush, obviously, just looking like a world beater. Probably going to fight for a belt real soon, so no shame in losing to Dariush there. But so this fight was interesting because Jalen Turner took this fight on very short notice. Gamrot is not a guy you want to take a fight on short notice against. But Jalen Turner held his own. Jalen Turner, 6'3", fighting at 155. Isn't that crazy? It's pretty crazy, right? Imagine being 6'3" and being able to make 155. And the optics of it in the ring, they show. You're just looking at the whole time like, how the fuck does this guy make 155? He's huge. But Gamrot does what Gamrot did what Gamrot does, and that's highly intelligent wrestling, patient, yet good pressure, and he just forced his game plan. Jalen Turner, like I said, he held his own. He rocked Gamrot a few times, had him a little stumbled here and there. It was a really good fight, but sad to see Jalen Turner, like, take that on short notice and get an L when he was like making his way and making a name for himself too. I mean, he's been around for a while, but he's just now been getting on a little bit of a roll, building his credits, building his resume with fantastic finishes and wins. His last one coming against Brad Riddell, which is like incredible. But I mean, Gamrot, high level, high IQ, amazing wrestler. I mean, wrestling is just like the thing, man. Wrestling is, and this is going to be a great segue into the next fight, but wrestling is like almost key in the world of mixed martial arts. You have a base, a great base in wrestling, you can get far in MMA. Which just leads to the opening fight of this main card, which was the highly anticipated debut of the amazing prospect that is Bo Nickal. Bo Nickal, one of the most decorated collegiate wrestlers, and I mean, everybody that knows Bo Nickal, everyone in the wrestling community says that this guy is going to be a champion, like with no hiccup in their speech. Just everyone feels that this guy is a world beater. His wrestling's just so high level that it's just going to carry him to a title fight. And so he took on Jamie Pickett in this. Jamie Pickett, not the most like impressive matchup that you could really base off of it, but I mean, to be fair, he pretty much won in such an easy fashion as he should have. So it's almost like Bo pretty much did what was expected of him, and it's still for me at least, it's a little too early to say that he's like going to be able to hang with the elites of the middleweight division, because the middleweight does have some fucking savages out there. And Jamie Pickett, great fighter and everything, but just not the most high level guy. So, and also a little controversy in this fight. Bo Nickal kind of landed a knee to the groin, and Jamie Pickett like kind of made a face that was like, obviously he was hit to the nuts, and the ref did nothing about it, and the commentator said nothing about it, and it was kind of strange that nobody said anything about it. Now there's a little bit of talk about it after from the community, from the viewers, but either way, nut shot or not, fucking Bo just dismantled this guy pretty much. I mean, made him miss on like the first strike, got him down, very Jon Jones-esque like in a way too, just made him miss, got the takedown, worked his way into a good position, and wasn't even in the best position to get the choke, but still got the choke. And that's, like I said with the SHAVKAT thing, that's also that's the sign of a really good high level fighter, when you could finish from a place that people normally can't finish at, because you just have that little extra in you, that little thing that just like makes you, good enough to be able to do that shit that other people can't. Like they just like, whether it's like the slightest adjustment of hands or arms, hips, legs, they just know, so, like, there's the high level in the grappling department that just allows you to get that little bit of an edge. Alexa Grasso, same thing with the hand. Like, it's amazing. Like, you could literally have someone in a really fucked up position and not get the tap because there's something just missing. Like, you're not able to apply that little extra you need to get them to tap. And I don't know. That's why I love the sport too. It's just, it comes down to, it almost like it's a game of inches. It's a game of millimeters. I mean, and you could use that for every aspect of the sport, whether it's striking, grappling, wrestling, all of it. It's all of a game of inches. So, I mean, amazing main card. The card fucking delivered. The prelims were good. Cody Garbrandt, not the typical Cody Garbrandt we got this night. He was a little more careful, a little more patient. Not the most exciting fight in the world, which is weird to say with Cody, because Cody's such like he's just like fireworks always. I mean, just he's caution to the wind. No pun intended on. Well, you know what? Pun intended. Yeah, that's where the name of the show comes from, people, if you don't know that. I mean, have you heard of the phrase throwing caution to the wind? Caution to the airwaves. That's what I'm doing here, boys and girls and everybody in between. Yeah, like I said, but nonetheless, I mean, and exciting or not, Cody did hold his own and not just hold his own. He kind of like just outclassed Trevin Jones like nothing. So it was impressive in its own right, but just, and apparently he had a neck injury, he said, coming into this. The week before, like, they stopped training, he had a really bad neck injury, and then even the night before the fight, he said he had a stinger, and it forced him to not have full range of motion in his left arm. I believe him. I don't think he would say that for no reason. And Cody is like, it kind of felt like something was up, like, he was very intelligent in there and everything, but usually he lets it go a little bit more, and I could see that being a reason. I guess, like, injury would make sense. So no harm, no foul. I'm not mad at him. I know the guy is legit, and I know he comes to bang every time, and he does what he can, and he wasn't going to pull out, so I respect it. I'm not going to go through the whole card, but I will touch on this one. Derek Brunson and Dricus du Plessis. Interesting fight. Derek Brunson, I picked him in this fight because I thought that Derek Brunson was obviously going to be able to use his wrestling and get the takedowns he always does on lesser wrestlers, and just be able to, and it was going that way, in that direction. But I'll tell you what, man, Dricus growing on me more and more. I mean, I liked him from the beginning, but seeing him get in these hard fights out of breath and still be able to be as explosive as he is and land well, and I mean, he wore, like, the thing I'm starting to realize though is when Dricus is tired, usually his opponent is too. So it's like, it's not like his explosiveness is wearing on his opponents as much as it's wearing on him. So it could be a problem with other guys in the future in the middleweight, but I mean, he's a striker, he's a kickboxer, and you're gonna have to fight Izzy, you're gonna have to fight Alex, you're gonna have to fight Kelvin or whoever, and these are all killers. So, but nonetheless, he's getting closer and closer to that top 5 fight. So I'm sure we'll see him with an interesting matchup soon. Derek Brunson, like I said, just got tired. He was kind of laughing the whole time he was getting beat up, thinking like it wasn't that bad. And then it was just weird finish. Like, he kind of seemed like he was there, and then he just wasn't. Like, he just ground and pound. He did make it out of the round technically, but he got like two strikes at the end that he didn't even try to defend, and his corner threw in the towel because he just didn't see enough from him, and it makes sense. It was a good towel throw by the corner. So Derek was shot, he was done, and yeah, like I said, it was the right decision. So, and also, I just saw you scroll down before. I shout out Amanda Rebus getting back in the win column too. Her fucking hilarious ass. But nothing, not hilarious. Her personality is hilarious. Her fighting style is not. She's a fucking badass. And she took on Viviane Araujo, who is not a joke. And I actually picked Viviane because Amanda wasn't showing me much in the last few fights, and Amanda shut me the fuck up and came out and did her. So shout out Amanda Rebus for that. And yeah, it was just like top to bottom, amazing night of fights. I'm still buzzing off of it. And I'm probably going to go back and watch a few of them over tonight, just because. I mean, that's the best part about buying a pay-per-view too. for you streamers out there is like you just get to endlessly watch it for as long as possible. I mean, at least a year, I think. So that's what's up. Go to the next card next week. Oh, by the way, too, I just want to. I don't have my phone on me, but follow me on Instagram at Caution to the Airwaves. I make my picks every Saturday when they put the card up there, when UFC posts the card. I make my picks, but then more importantly, I make my locks. Which if you're a gambler, you know a lock is a sure win is pretty much what a lock is. And I make I not every card has locks, but this one had like 4 of them, and every single one of them hit. I believe I picked SHAVKAT, which was close, but I mean not that close, but SHAVKAT was my lock. I know I had Ian Gary, which shout out Ian Gary, got a beautiful win in that card too. Fought some adversity, but still got the win. Can you real quick go back to that card just so I could see who else did I pick? I didn't pick Valentina because I knew Alexa's a tough girl. But I had Ian Gary, I had SHAVKAT Rakhmonov, I had Basharat in the prelims. He won. And there was one more that was in the upper prelims. There we go. Good. I don't think it was the main card though. Just I don't know why I'm making a big deal of it, but keep going. Ian Gary. All right, maybe it was keep going. Yeah, Basharat. I guess that's what it was then. Maybe it was just 3 of them then. Yeah, Basharat, Ian Gary, and SHAVKAT, and all of them won. So I mean, if you want to win some money, take my locks and put them in a parlay, eh? So, which I'm going to make picks for this next card at the very end of this podcast, and we'll cut a clip out of it. But oh yeah, fucking Petr Yan taking on Merab Davishvili. Petr Yan is pay-per-view main event caliber fighter, and here he is headlining a fight night. What more can we ask for on this one? The main event is just speaking for itself. And Merab, you know, obviously this is such an interesting matchup. Merab is one of these guys, Petr Yan, very well-rounded, has all the skills, highly talented on the feet, more specifically in the feet. Merab, not the best striker, but is a cardio machine, presses forward, and is a big-time grappler. The odds are interesting in this, -205 to +175. Man, that's tough. And if I'm going to have to make picks on this is crazy. Keep going. I just want to... we'll just read off a couple of these. Yeah, we got Volkov taking on Romanov in the heavyweight division. Alexander Volkov, Alexander Romanov. That's a fun co-main event. Ricardo Ramos, that's my guy. Always has been since he's been in the UFC. Highly talented, highly skilled, ridiculous on the feet, ridiculous in jiu-jitsu. It's actually surprising to me that this guy hasn't made his way into the top 10 yet. Always loved him. Featherweight, taking on Austin Lingo. I already know he's going to be one of my locks. Said Nurmagomedov, Jonathan Martinez. Love that matchup. That's what starts off the card. Love that matchup. Really big on Jonathan Martinez. This is a huge test for him against Said. So I guess, wait, that's the whole main card? Okay, yeah. So I guess maybe a fight fell off if that's not the first one because I was looking at before. I'm gonna leave off on Sun Sal, Davey Grant, a great fight in the prelims. There's actually a few good prelim fights. Ariana Lipsky, JJ Aldrich, great women's fight there. Tony Gravely, Tyson Nam making his return. Fucking Tyson Nam's always fun to watch. Yeah. All right. So let's go up. Should we do it like this just now, like the picks, and then cut it, or should we do it at the end? After? Okay. All right. So, like I said, that's next. That's this week. Go to real quick just to the events. We're gonna let you go here, but just because like it's just worth mentioning what the fuck March has coming. Like I said, this Saturday we got Petr Yan taking on Merab with that. It's a great fight night. It's not in the Apex. It's at the new MGM theater or whatever it is. It's at a theater. It's going to be a big crowd. And then the fucking week after that, another pay-per-view, Leon Edwards, Kamaru Usman 3, the rematch. You got to pull it out of the fire, Leon. What's wrong with you, man? Get it together. The iconic fucking corner work from Leon that got him hyped into the 5th round to get that knockout when he was losing the fight. Still, I just got chills thinking about it because it was an amazing moment. I mean, we don't even need to dive into that card. It's stacked. Cheeto Vera after that, taking on Sanhagen in San Antonio. We're starting to get back into arenas and cities. Love that. Need a crowd. It's time to say goodbye to the Apex. Apex is there when you need it. And then after that, another fucking pay-per-view. It's like every other weekend's a pay-per-view. We go start off April with Alex Pereira, Israel Adesanya, the rematch. And Jorge Masvidal takes on Gilbert Burns in that co-main event. And then after that, you got Max Holloway taking on fucking Arnold Allen. All those headlines are like a dream matchup. And then we got, just because it's the last one there on the page, Pavlovich and Blades. I said Braids. Pavlovich and Blades. And Pavlovich is looking like the next guy at heavyweight. Like, if Jon Jones beats Stipe and Pavlovich beats Blades like this, that could be a potential matchup for the end of the year. And that's a scary matchup because Pavlovich is like the one guy in the division that is like scary for anybody. So, including Jon Jones. And that says a lot. All right. So, yeah, I guess we'll leave it there then. And I'm going to make a separate video. It'll be a short with my picks. So, stay tuned for that. That'll be posted a little bit later in the week, maybe on Wednesday. Yeah, and that's it. Cue the music. This is fun. I'm happy to be back, and I can't wait for next week, and I can't wait to be active throughout this whole month because this month is just delivering some gems. So till next week, God is love, love is God. Namaste. Godspeed.